What's up, football fans? What's up, sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network channel. Giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. For everyone who's tuning in, we thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel, which we have over 3,000 subscribers now, and help make this show the best that it can be. I want to talk about this big time NFL football game yesterday between the Philadelphia Eagles on the road versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Eagles entered the game with a record of 9 wins and 2 losses. The Ravens entered the game with a record of 8 wins and 4 losses. And this was a highly anticipated matchup between two of the best quarterbacks in the game, young quarterbacks in the game, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, probably the two best running backs in football, and Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. And the Battle of the Birds, as they call it, what's getting me is the Baltimore Ravens, man, they've been plugging away. You know, they've improved the roster. They drafted talented receivers like Zay Flowers, and they brought in the ultimate power back in Derrick Henry. And Lamar Jackson is playing great this year. He's had a great season overall, man. He threw for about 230 some yards yesterday, about 23 or 36 passing, 2 touchdowns. Something's missing though. Something I cannot put my finger on it. I know people been talking about their defense. It's not as good as it was last year. They had like a top 3 ranked defense last year, but something's missing. Something is missing. I cannot put my finger on it, but nonetheless, the Eagles went into Baltimore and they pulled off the victory by the score of 24-19. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he didn't play terrible, but he didn't play great, but he didn't turn the ball over, and that's the name of the game. He only threw for like about 118, 119 yards passing. But I'm going to say the man of the hour, Saquon Barkley, who was drafted by the New York Giants with about 4 seasons ago, and he suffered that ACL. I believe that was during his 2nd year with the Giants, but since then, he signed with the Eagles, and I'm telling you, he's on pace to break the all-time single-season rushing record held by the one and only Eric Dickerson, who broke that mark, who set that mark of 2,105 yards during the 1985 NFL season. So we're talking about 39 years. And if Barkley breaks that record, there's been a couple of running backs who've been close. Adrian Peterson, Jamal Lewis back in 2000, and Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Ray Rice, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's been like 4 or 5 running backs who have cracked the 2,000 yard rushing mark for a season. But if he breaks that record, he has to be, in my eyes, the leading candidate for NFL MVP. That is a hollow record. We're talking about 39 years. Eric Dickerson, if it wasn't for the neck injury that he suffered when he was playing for the Indianapolis Colts, if he would have suffered that neck injury, it's more than likely he would be the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. But that's Emmitt Smith's record, who surpassed the late, great Walter Payton. But if Saquon Barkley breaks that record, the way he's carried the Eagles' offense in the 4th quarters, he would have to be the leading candidate, or should be, for league MVP this year. I know, you have Josh Allen, who's playing great. He's seeking his first league MVP. Lamar Jackson is seeking his 3rd NFL MVP. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say Saquon Barkley if he breaks that record. Or if he even gets 2,000 yards. You know what I'm saying? But the Eagles prevail, and they're now tied with the Minnesota Vikings for the second best record in NFC. I believe the Vikings had the tiebreaker because they beat the Eagles on opening week this year. But as it stands, they're in first place in the NFC East, 8-game win streak. But the Ravens look like they're gonna have to qualify as a wild card team in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, with Kansas City winning some of the luckiest games, like some of the like teams are coming up with new ways to lose against Kansas City. It'd be at the last play of the game. But nonetheless, they're 11-1. Buffalo's 10-2, and then Pittsburgh Steelers, surprisingly, is leading the AFC North division with a record of 9-3. So essentially, Pittsburgh is 2.5 games up on Baltimore. They have the tiebreaker between the two teams right now if they finish with the same record. They do meet again by the end of the season, but nonetheless, this was a big game. Eagles, Ravens. Eagles, they flying high right now. Baltimore has to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out because they're going to have to go on the road and more than likely have to win 3 games to advance to the Super Bowl. That's what it comes down to. And like I said, man, Lamar Jackson's playing great this year. But it's just something missing. There's something missing, man. And the margin between losing and winning or winning and losing is like they say football is a game of inches. But I do believe it would hurt Baltimore starting the season off. They lost their first 2 games. They start off 0-2. If they would have won opening night versus Kansas City, they really should have won that game, but they lost. And then they failed to 0-2. But they're going to have to figure it out. But the Eagles look like they're on the right track, though. And I would say the 3 best teams in the NFC, record-wise, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, Philadelphia Eagles, and then the AFC, Buffalo did beat Kansas City. So I'm going to give the edge to Buffalo, then Kansas City, then Pittsburgh. Then there's everybody else. So again, Philadelphia goes into Baltimore. The Eagles defeat the Ravens by the score of 24-19 in a barn burner. So I just want to drop that golden nugget real quick. Till next time, JB for BTB Behind the Bench.